Hello, folks. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. Speaking at a conference in Dakar, Senegal, back on the 6th of December, 2021, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa condemned the new travel restrictions imposed by the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States following the discovery of the Omicron variant, first found by South African scientists. Not actually true. But he conveniently omitted the fact that much of the world also suspended flights to tell his race-hustling narrative. He said, "You ask yourself, where is science? They always said to us, base your decisions in science. But when the moment comes for them to be more scientific, they are not." Science! Now, South African president also accused Western nations of having hoarded vaccines. The greed they demonstrated was disappointing, particularly when they say they are our partners, because our lives in Africa are just as important as lives in Europe, North America, and all over. Ramaphosa has also been leading the campaign for a waiver on the intellectual property on Corona vaccines to allow South Africa and other states to manufacture their own generic vaccines to increase the pace of vaccination. Now listen to Cyril Ramaphosa in his own words, recorded at that forum in Dakar on the 6th of December, 2021.
Ordered vaccines. They ordered more vaccines than their populations required. And when we wanted vaccines, they just kept giving us the crumbs from their table. And the greed that they demonstrated is something that is quite disappointing indeed, particularly when they say they are our partners. Because our lives in Africa are just as important as their lives in Europe, in North America, and all over. Now, all that India and South Africa proposed is that just waive this requirement at the WTO for a while to enable countries that have the capability on the African continent to manufacture these vaccines. And up till now, they are refusing to do so. And this is disappointing, particularly from those who call themselves our partners.
They ordered more vaccines than their populations required. And why didn't you, Cyril? Why didn't you order vaccines? Because you relied on the corrupt and inept and ineffective COVAX facility, which anyone with any degree of cogent lucidity could have predicted wasn't going to work, and it hasn't worked.
And when we wanted vaccines, they just kept, giving us the crumbs from their table.
And when we wanted vaccines, they just keep giving us the crumbs from their table. What? Giving you? Are these vaccines found in nature, Cyril? Why weren't you in South Africa developing vaccines, Cyril? You claim you have the means, the human capital. So where are your jabs? Russia, India, China, all developing countries, and they have jabs. Why doesn't South Africa or any other African country like Algeria or Egypt or Nigeria have the jabs? They certainly have the resources. Please, sir, more soup.
Hey, didn't you already get soup?
Begging while calling the people you're begging from bigots and racists and greedy and hoarders. You see, he's playing to an audience. He's in Dakar. He's playing to an audience. And the greed that they demonstrated is quite disappointing indeed. Come again? Greed? Where's all the donor money, the loans meant to alleviate Rona, Cyril? Where's the July 2020 African Development Bank $285 million loan to South Africa? Or the $1 billion new development bank, the BRICS Bank loan, which was in August of 2020? What of the $4.3 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund in August of 2020? Poof. Gone. Greed? Yeah, that really is rich coming from a president who sat on his own personal fortune, gained not through hard effort and business acumen, but because of his connections, his patronage connections. So he sat around on his tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, while thousands of South Africans gave money to the Solidarity Fund, and his party pilfered, stole, and defrauded 59 million South Africans. Greed? The greed is the ANC. It's corrupt enterprise stealing from South Africans. You're blaming Western governments who didn't develop the vaccine. Corporations did, out of their own pockets. Disappointing does not even begin to describe the African National Congress and its legions of thieving leeches.
Because our lives in Africa are just as important as their lives in Europe, in North America, and all over.
Because our lives in Africa are just as important as their lives in Europe, in North America. Race hustle much there, Cyril? What of the $140 billion the United States has spent in Africa on HIV? Africans spend virtually nothing on HIV/AIDS. America foots the bill and has for 18 years. And millions of South Africans would be dead or would have died already were it not for the generosity of the American taxpayer and our government.
But lo and behold, Omicron is spreading all over the world, including in their own countries.
Now listen to that applause from the empty-headed bigots who nod in agreement simply because he says the bigotry that they endorse. That's sad. Just waive the IP for a bit so that countries in Africa that have the capability to manufacture them can. Now, wait a second, Cyril. How about you tell the truth here for once? We, the United States and the European Union, gave Aspen Pharmacare $711 million, $750 million, $1 billion. Gave them the intellectual property and the diagnostic equipment 3 months ago. And you're still lying about giving away intellectual property. Aspen has since then produced 0 doses despite the handouts and the generosity of the American corporation and of the American taxpayer and European Union. You have the capability. So where exactly are your vaccines? What studies did you undertake? What research did you do to develop vaccines? Which trials did you offer to be part of? Were South Africans part of the AstraZeneca, the Moderna, the Johnson & Johnson, the Abbott, the Pfizer, the Sputnik, the Sinovac? Were you part of any of those studies? No, you weren't. You weren't, because you're content to sit back and steal donor money meant to help South Africans while South Africans die and starve and lose their means of employment and their personal resources. You're happy with that. Look at the endless parade and list of criminals in the African National Congress charged, accused, or guilty of theft and corruption during this pandemic. And you actually have the audacity to sit there and say, we have the capacity. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have used it. Unless, of course, your intent was to sit back on your rear, wait for other people to take the risk, to invest, to take the chances, let North Americans be the guinea pigs for the jab, not South Africans. And then when you've failed miserably, sit back and accuse the world of vaccine apartheid, of vaccine inequity. There's no such thing as vaccine inequity. Vaccines, jabs do not occur in nature. You don't walk into a forest, look, it's doses of the jab. You don't walk into a mine and dig and go, look, vials of a jab. These are things developed by Homo sapiens for the betterment of mankind. And South Africa did jack squat for the betterment of mankind. All you've done is race hustle by telling a narrative to an audience that is bigoted and is happy to hear what you have to say. Shame on you, Cyril Ramaphosa. You're a disgrace to the office of the president of South Africa. You're a disgrace to the human species. You need to knock it off. This is not factual. It's fiction on your part. You did nothing to help South Africans. In fact, your party and you did far worse. Where are your private donations, Cyril Ramaphosa? You're worth $500 million US. What have you given to help in this crisis? Rich South Africans have given plenty, and it's all been forgotten about as you race hustle and blame people of different pigmentations for your failures.
Very good. You know something? No soup for you.
Well, folks, if you're not a subscriber, hey, take a moment to become one. Smash that button right down there. We appreciate it, and we'd love to see you on the channel. Thanks a lot for your support.